First and foremost, we had a lot of respect for Liberty. I've known Richie McKay and certainly known of his success for a long time. And starting to watch film of them the other night with their post double, how good they are defensively, knowing his background as a head coach, knowing his background with the Virginia program, we knew we were going to have to be really, really good at moving the ball. And we wanted to play through the post. You know, we're clicking at a really good rate when the ball touches the paint by the post up or the drive. And we wanted to establish that in that game, knowing that it would be hard to do. And the most important thing for us was to get off to a really good start defensively. And the starting lineup was a +10. I look at it right now like we have 6 starters. You know, we're trying to make sure that we have a group of guys that can finish the game. But for me to make that decision to move him in there is really simple for us because of where those guys are at. And the whole key for the season is to continue to have guys be able to move in that way, not necessarily move out. And I thought that gave us an opportunity tonight to establish some rebounding, some physicality. We did. We got off to an excellent start. And everybody that came into the game continued to build on that. And again, we prepared hard. They've worked extremely hard, and we had one day off in between. But they were locked into this team. We were locked into how well they shoot the ball. We were locked into the fact that number 22 Dawson was 6 of 8 from 3 coming into the game. That number 2 Reed was a tremendous catch and shoot shooter. Of the 16 shots that he'd taken, 14 of them had been threes. So we didn't want to come down and get into some type of shootout with them. We wanted to make sure that we were guarding the ball as good as we could and not coming out of the corners and try to limit their good 3-point attempts. And I thought our defensive length, our awareness, the switching, the not over-helping, those things were really, really good in the first half. And we had a few miscues later on. But defensively and rebounding were the biggest keys to me. There's certainly a lot of room for improvement. We can get a lot better. Our footwork, as much time as we spend on it, some of our mistakes right now, our turnovers are coming from footwork. We've got to continue to build on that. We've got to continue to cut better without the ball. We've got to continue to give the ball up one dribble earlier. Our mindset of passing is good, and sometimes we don't execute it as well. There are a few things that were very easy to correct with our turnovers in the sense of our spacing and, like I said, the footwork. A few other things we've got to work a little harder at. But it's the 3rd game of the year. We know we're getting ready to play in a tremendous atmosphere against another team that we have a lot of respect for in Fort Wayne on Tuesday night, who's coming off a big win where they scored 94 points. We have a lot of respect for how they coach, how they play, how fast they are, and we're going on the road. So short period of time for us to get better, but we got better in the game tonight, and that's the most important thing moving forward.
You kind of already just answered my question. I was going to ask you about the turnovers and how you sort of diagnose them as far as footwork. Then, I mean, how do you attack that?
Well, we work on footwork all the time. I mean, so a couple of it's we're hopping a little bit, and I think we're just in a rush. I think we're playing a little too fast at times, and we're trying to make the move too fast. Freddie's charge in the corner was, if they cut off the baseline, we attack across the top. We're just going a little too fast. But I'll focus on that tomorrow. I'm going to make sure that I've already had my oldest daughter, who's become she makes all of you look mild right now with her critiques. So already saw that message from her. So she's not even here. She's at the Michigan-Indiana game. So I get it from all levels. But to me, everything's correctable, and their attitudes are great, and we'll get those things fixed as we go.
You talked about kind of dealing with their defense, and Thomas in particular. How do you think he handled that? I guess he was getting a lot of attention defensively inside. You talked about the post double, and I think that defense just in general seemed to be kind of really packed in. How do you think he handled that?
Oh, very well. I thought he handled it very well. I think his turnovers a couple of times just came. We'll have to look at him, but there are just a couple of miscues there. But he still had deflections tonight. We've got to make. We want to do the right thing. Sometimes we got to do it a little quicker. Sometimes we have to do it with a little more patience. Like the move has to be quicker, or we have to slow down a little bit on our footwork, or we have to make the pass one dribble sooner. There's some timing issues there that I'm not surprised we're going through. and we'll work on that. We're continuing to learn how to get used to the new rules with the post-up and things of that nature. I didn't think that he'd fouled when he was called for the offensive foul, but then later I see, yeah, and the way the rules are called now, he did. So we've got to continue to work on that. Duran, the same thing. You know, a lot of times, guys, we sometimes we have our arms in the wrong spots. We want to have our arms up and out. We want to have our arms up and loose and hands loose to rebound the ball, but we don't want to post with our arms. We want to post with our body and get our arms out wide. Sometimes we get it in reverse order, right? And so to me, it's just a matter of just refinement, remembering, more drill work, more film work, and just continue to expand what we're doing and do it in a fundamental way.
Tom, I think you played, in fact, I know you played looking at the roster, 14 guys. That's probably not realistic to do that the whole season, but with this type of team, with the type of depth you have, how many guys do you think you could play?
I'm not sure. I haven't even really thought about that. I screwed up momentum in the end of the first half a little bit, and because I wanted to get some other guys in there, and we had good momentum going. But I'm not sure. I mean, I think if we recruit them, they should be good enough to play. And I think if they can walk on, they should be good enough to come into the game and help us because, you know, we have enough managers, right? So you want guys that can come in and contribute. Now, there's going to be nights some guys don't play as much, but I think that's why as we go down the line, there'll be more pressure involved in our defense. Right now, we're trying to get our base right. We're trying to get our half court right. We're trying to get our ball pressure right. We're trying to make sure, like I said, that we don't come off the corners. The other night, I didn't think we were as good at that. You know, Kansas, we did a pretty decent job. We didn't do as good a job Wednesday, and we did a much better job tonight. So it's really, to me, we don't want to lose the fundamental base of what we've got to do defensively in the half court. But as we get better at that, then that will increase even more full court pressure, and hopefully that'll allow us to stay with playing more guys. But the biggest thing I'm looking for, you want to play at a really fast pace, but you don't want guys to pace themselves. And that's why getting a lot of guys in there is really important right now as we play our way into really good game shape. Because I've said so many times before, and knowing my team the way I do, we're not there yet because we just don't have that build-up that we've had with the 5-on-5 and practices and with the injuries and all that different stuff that you work through. But we're getting there. So I'm not down on anybody with the way that they played. But I will say at the same time, there's not one guy that can't get significantly better. And I believe that they all will.
Jeff, you mentioned defensively, you're sort of like, you know, going to add things. How does that approach work as far as do you look and say, okay, by December 31st, I want 75% of the defense in? Or how do you kind of?
I don't look at it that way at all. I mean, we don't have nearly as many things in offensively as we would have had, and we don't have as many different schemes or packages defensively in because it's really so much about its concept on both sides of the court for us. But tonight was more about let's get on the glass. All right, let's get on the glass offensively. Let's get on the glass defensively. Let's make sure our effort and energy is really good there. Let's not pace ourselves on running the floor. Frankly, I think the trip caught up with us a little bit last week, last Tuesday and Wednesday especially. I think if you look at the other teams that played in that, and it's the same thing when you come back from Maui. I mean, it hits you at different times. It's not an excuse. I mean, we scored 100 points, but we weren't as good as we could have been. And I think that we've worked hard at that the last couple of days to make sure we understand that better. So I don't have a timeline on any of that. It's every day reading the team, you know, and seeing where we're at.
Tom, you talked a little bit about Fort Wayne, but how did you end up taking a game in Fort Wayne? Was that something you really wanted to do? It just worked out? How did that happen?
Well, we wanted to do something that had home games in it with the Indiana Classic to make sure that we had enough home games. We knew we were doing the thing with Kansas. You know, certainly we'd made the decision to play Louisville and Bankers Life to go along with Butler. We had the ACC game, so it was just a matter of let's make sure we have enough home games for this. And Jade Grossman put it together, and it was an opportunity to involve Fort Wayne and an opportunity to go on the road at, I think, the second largest city, right? Second largest city and a great IU fan base up there. And, you know, now we got to go play the game. It's going to be easier said than done with how talented they are, how good Mo Evans is. But it's just an opportunity to play in the state. We can't do it very much. You know, I can't say when we'll be able to do it again, you know, with the way the schedule is for us. but this is an opportunity for us to go up there in an arena that I'm looking forward to coaching in. I think they're looking forward to playing in, and certainly the fact that we could take James home played into it. And there was always that risk making that decision, because obviously, I mean, if he doesn't get hurt last year, maybe he's not here, right? I mean, maybe he's already in the NBA, but it just kind of worked out. So I know they're appreciative. I know the base of fans up there are excited, and all we want to do over the next few days is be locked into playing an explosive team.
Josh took a blow right under the basket in the second half. Did he lose it too?
They lost a tooth, so they're in the process of handling that now. So yeah, that's a tough deal, because he's going to be a good player, right? And we're asking a lot of him right now, and doing more than what he's done. And I was really looking forward to him going out there and continuing to play with the 4 fouls. And then obviously he got hit and he couldn't continue. But I have no reason to believe that it'll be anything more than getting that replaced. And hopefully with the addition of a mouth guard, he'll be okay. Go ahead, Terry.
Following up on Pete's question just a little bit, but you said it's hard to play those in-state road games. I know you did it against Evansville a few years ago, but I mean, why is that so difficult?
Well, look at our schedule. It's very difficult because of this is working out into a classic situation. It's not where you're really going to be able to do it home and home. It's not really where you're going to be able to do it 2 for 1. I mean, I can go down the litany of the reasons. We have the Big Ten ACC. We have the Gavitt Cup 5 out of 7 years. We've got the Crossroads. We're going to try to play in something like a Jimmy V, or like what we did with the Armed Forces. And this just worked out. You know, this worked out. This was our exempt event. And so you have Liberty, Mississippi Valley, you have Lowell, and now you have Fort Wayne. So it just worked out that way. But it's very, very hard to do 2 for 1s or home and homes outside of what's already been allotted. And then the Louisville game obviously came into play. So there's a lot of navigation that has to go into the scheduling. And there's less flexibility than you think. I mean, but you know that. I mean, you've seen that. So it's just is what it is.
Circling back to Thomas, we kind of talked a lot last year about his passion and always kind of putting that into his play without letting it maybe take him over a line a little bit. Has he gotten better at sort of channeling that, do you think, as a sophomore, and maybe not going too fast, or just kind of letting his emotions sort of push him?
Yeah, I don't really think much about that. I think it's just a matter of moving on to the next play is the most important thing for him. Not being down on himself. He's very hard on himself, and we can't let being hard on himself play into the next play, because it's usually not that way. When you get down on yourself, it doesn't affect the next play. It usually affects about 3 or 4 plays. And you can't live in the past. And the past has got to be, you got to learn from it quickly and move on. Well, it's the same thing when it's going well. I mean, you've got to really move on quickly. And that's part of the maturity process for every player. And he's in the midst of that right now. And at 19, I think he's doing a pretty good job of it, but it's something that we've got to continue to help him with, because he's got a very high motor. He's a perfectionist in a lot of ways. He wants to do well. You know, he wants to be a well-rounded, complete player, and he's well on his way to being that. And so this is not a situation where he just comes down, lines up in that post, and, you know, he played 3 different positions tonight offensively. And with the way we're switching, he's switching on to a lot of different people. So it's different here in that sense that there's a lot of things. That's why we've slowed down how many things that we have in, but there's a lot of different ways we can play. And when you have a guy that has the versatility, the intelligence, the emotion, the energy that he has, you want to do your very best to help him with that, because he's going to be such a good player, you know, moving down the road. And we just want to make sure we do everything we can possibly do to have him as prepared as he can be and win a whole bunch of games along the way. And that's what he's well on his way to doing. All right, thank you.